Good afternoon, my loves, and welcome back to Maverick Baking. You're joining me again today for another chocolate-laced recipe video, and I am very happy to see you again. Today I want to walk you guys through a recipe that should be in every baker or home cook or chef's repertoire. It's timeless, it's impressive yet kind of unfussy and not too pretentious. It fits on every dessert menu, any afternoon tea menu, and it's something that chocolate lovers should always have within arm's reach. I'm talking about the brownie. Dense, fudgy, rich, wonderfully deep with chocolate flavour. No dryness, no cakey nonsense here. We're in pure, delicious stodge territory. The recipe I'm sharing with you guys today is one I have been using for years and I rely upon more than I care to admit. There are already loads of different variations of it that you can find on maverickbaking.com, whether you're a dark milk or white chocolate lover, or even if you need a little vegan option or two, that's your kind of thing. But today we are stripping it back and we're making a basic but beautiful brownie. As always, the full list of ingredients and instructions will be in the description box below, so let's go. So we're going to be starting off today's brownie recipe with the most important and of course the most exciting ingredient of all, our chocolate. I'd always recommend using the best you can find or the best you can afford, but as you can see here, there are sometimes occasions when you just have a few bars that need using up. So I'm using a blend of milk and dark just because I have it. If you prefer a very milky brownie or a very dark brownie, you can adjust your chocolate requirements to suit. Just be careful with white chocolate. And once these are all kind of broken up into an even size for melting, we're going to add pretty much the same amount of unsalted butter. We're going to add the salt later, but if all you have in the house is salted butter, you can use that and just skip on the salt later. We're then going to take these away to melt them. Now you can do this in your microwave on a nice low heat, checking up on it regularly, or you can do it as I do over a pan of gently simmering water. While that's melting, you can weigh out your dry ingredients. For this recipe, you're going to need some plain flour, just bog standard plain flour, and you're going to need some cocoa powder. Again, the best you can get is usually your better option, but just whatever you have. To that, I like to add a healthy pinch of salt, just because the more salt you add, the more the flavours come out without turning it savoury. Don't worry too much. And you're just going to want to kind of mix these together. Using a whisk for this task can just help to get out any lumps and just make sure everything is nice and combined for later on. But we're just going to set that aside for just now, and we're going to get our sweetness ready. So in this big blue bowl, we have some caster sugar. This is sort of in between icing sugar and granulated sugar. It's perfect for dissolving quickly and perfect for this recipe. To that, I'm adding just some bog standard vanilla. Again, the more expensive is usually the better, but just whatever you have, and add a good healthy dose of that because there's no such thing as too much vanilla. Then you're going to want to add 3 large eggs or 4 medium eggs, just cracked straight in, and then you're going to want to whisk them just until they're combined. You don't want it too kind of fluffy, just until it's nice and gloopy. Meanwhile, your chocolate and butter mixture should still be on the heat and should be just about melted. Once it's melted into beautifully shiny, chocolatey soup, you can take it off the heat, and then you're going to want to whisk it very, very, very slowly and gradually into your egg and sugar mixture. Because the chocolate and butter are quite hot, if you add these too quickly, it might scramble your eggs. So just doing it nice and gradually will ensure not only that it's mixed well, as you can see by my very fast bicep movements, but also so that the eggs stay nice and smooth and just turn into this gorgeous chocolate gloop. Once you have achieved said lovely gloop, you just want to tap in your dry ingredients and get them whisked in. The bowl I used wasn't quite big enough, so don't make this mistake, but do just very gently mix in your dry ingredients just until you have a super gloopy, delicious, thick chocolate brownie batter that you just want to stick your entire face and hand into. But don't do that just yet. Then just take a second to wipe down your surfaces if you're as messy as I am. Then you're going to want to grab, now this is an 8x8 or 20x20 sized tin, square tin that I've just lined and greased a little bit, but you can also use, I think an 8x12 tin would be absolutely fine as well. And you're just going to want to chuck all of your brownie batter straight in there. Don't need to be neat or even it out, it will do that job itself. And if you like, if you're a chocolate addict like I am, you can chuck any other kind of leftover or remaining chocolate you have lying around and just bung it on top. This can be chocolate chips, chocolate chunks, or as you see here, just pieces of a bar that you had left over. I bake with a lot of chocolate, so this happens. This is roughly what it should look like before baking. A lovely glossy tin of brownie batter with big healthy chunks that you're just going to want to take away and bake. Now we bake the recipe on a pretty kind of low and slow heat. Now different ovens can cause different temperature requirements, and these can take anywhere from 35 minutes to 55 minutes, just depending on how your oven is. So just be gentle and keep an eye on them until they come out of the oven looking like this shiny, crackly top beauty with super, super dense sides and interiors. Once these are completely cold, if you can chill them or even freeze them to get a nice clean slice, even better. Once they're completely cool, they will look, taste, and be so much easier and better to slice, I promise. So just be careful and use a nice sharp knife to get all the way through that lovely dense fudgy goodness. I like to cut mine into kind of skinny bars, but you could cut them into slabs, into triangles, whatever you prefer. And this is what your end product should look like. So I got 12 slices out of this recipe, but you can get anywhere from 8 to 16 really, depending on the size you're going for. If it's a snack, if it's a dessert, if it's breakfast, if it's a whole meal, who knows and who cares? And this is the interior you want to have achieved. Gorgeous, compact fudginess all the way up to the edges, just like this piece. You want them to be rich, dense, and intensely chocolatey, whether you went for a milky or a kind of dark chocolate with that lovely, almost meringue-like top. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you love this recipe as much as I do, and I will see you for the next one.